look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain, pulling a mob, pushing a train, I'll never stop.
Hello, my name is Holly, and this is The Murder She Shed, the place where we discuss true crime right from my she shed. Today's case is a horrific murder of a beautiful young woman that was burned alive by two evil men who had tortured her before they lit her on fire. So I'm going to put a warning here for sexual assault and violence. If these are a trigger for you, then this crime case is not for you. Come sit and listen to true crime for a bit. Just be sure to hit that subscribe button just for the heck of it. Guess what it is? It's Suspense She Shed Sunday. Whoop whoop. You're super excited. I can see on your face. See that excitement coming through the screen. So today is a true crime story of Quyen, whose life was taken at 28 years of age by two men who had been released from prison even though they had murdered before. They were on probation at the time of this murder. Quyen, who often went by the name Anna, was a beautiful young woman who had moved from Vietnam with her sister. They had moved to the UK. Her sister said that they had moved to the UK in order to better their lives. The sisters lived a simple life, she would say. Gwen had a son named David, and Gwen's sister had children as well. Gwen's sister would say every morning we would go to work, and then after work, go home, feed and play with our children, and then we would just sleep together as a family. They both worked in a nail salon. Gwen also managed some rental properties. This is where she would meet one of the men that would end her life. Friends often warned Gwen that she was too trusting. She really only seen the good in people. She had never seen a stranger, and it did not matter who you were. She was kind to everyone. Stephen Unwin was a handyman for the homes that Quyen rented out. Unwin had been in prison for the murder of a 73-year-old man. He had broke into his home on Christmas Day in 1998 and attacked, then stabbed him in the chest before starting 3 fires. Unwin was sentenced to life imprisonment when he pleaded guilty to murder in 1999, and then he was released on probation in 2012. So much for the life in prison, huh? Unwin met Stephen McFall while in prison, and they became friends. I guess both of their evil hearts brought them together. McFall was serving supposed life in prison for breaking into the home of 86-year-old Martha Gilmore on May of 1996. He had been mowing her lawn. Due to her mobility issues, she was unable to mow herself. After breaking into her home, he then would realize she had been in the home and so knew that she could ID him. So he repeatedly hit her in the head with a hammer and killed her and then robbed her. McFall was released on probation in 2010. While out on parole, Unwin had 26 incidents. One of them was on July 2nd, 2017, where it was alleged he sent threatening Facebook messages to a female, threatening to smash her jaw in and take turns with a cousin to rape her. There was no complaint made by the complainant, leading to charges. Another incident, an officer recorded on July 12, 2015, that he had seen Unwin in possession of a diesel can, and recorded on the police log. He is on life probation for a murder where he attempted to destroy evidence by fire. After being released from prison, they started stealing cannabis plants from Vietnamese farmers in order to make quick cash. It is unclear why Quyen, who was only under 5 feet and weighed only around 100 pounds, visited Unwin's house on August 14, 2017. But prosecutors say she walked into a trap and was carried out dying in a plastic sheet by one of her killers. They believe that she'd been lured to Unwin's house to discuss some kind of business deal. Earlier in the day, McFall and Unwin had exchanged text messages. On one of the texts, McFall asked Unwin, "We raping the beep?" It's a racist word that I am not going to say. We'll leave that out. There's no point in even saying or talking about that. McFall had also taken a selfie on that day with a gas gun that he used during the killing of Quyen. It would later be found to have DNA on it that had been used in the sexual attack of Quyen. Here is the video footage of McFall with the gun and his plants he had at his residence, as well as a piece of footage of McFall and Unwin bragging about women and money.
Hello, Stewie, baby. What you want to see, my friends? You want to buy some Chinese thigh stick? Lovely cheese. Real cheese. Ah!
No. You're alright, mate. It's been a long time. I miss you, pal. I'm sorry I upset you and let you down in life. But hopefully, I'm happy, mate, and I hope that you can hook up with us all sometime. I'd love to come and see you. Different person from what you do inside, lad. You take care. Look after yourself.
And me too. Business is good, kids. All I'm going to say. Got 2 houses to do in a week, right? 10 grand.
Yeah.
Midnight,
Kid, tonight
yeah,
as well.
Yeah. I've got a 4-bed house. On my own, I'm single. I've got a brass coming tonight, £100, me and John. two's up, kid.
The motives for Quyen's killing was a combination of violent, warped sexual fantasy and greed. As Gwen stepped inside Unwin's residence, she was violently attacked for 4 hours before she was burned alive. This is the last video footage of Quyen in the back of Unwin's house before going in at 7:24 p.m. She types on her phone and her keys are in her hand and follows him into the house. Quyen was then beaten, throttled with a ligature around her neck, and raped by the men who used a gas-powered pistol and a Star Wars lightsaber toy as a part of the degrading assault. DNA had been found on the lightsaber as well as the gun. He used both of these objects in a sexual way. That's all I can say on the lightsaber and the gun. At one point, McFall was alone with her, but most of the time they were in the house together with Gwen. And it is caught on CCTV that Unwin had went and got some whiskey at some point during the assault. It's about 2 hours in. During the assault, McFall would say that Unwin had drank some whiskey and then had used a syringe to inject some whiskey into Gwen's thigh. They had spent weeks planning this murder and death of Gwen. McFall would say Unwin threatened her with a gun after they had raped her in order to find out her PIN number for 2 bank cards, and also had put a bag over her head. When they had finished abusing her and gained access to her money, they decided to dispose of her because they wanted to destroy the evidence of what they had been doing. But first, they decided they would eat curry as she lay lifeless on the floor. McFall would later say in court, "Well, I didn't eat all of the curry." It is thought that she had been strangled before they brought her body out. But Quyen was not dead at this point, only unconscious. CCTV footage is seen of the killers leaving Unwin's house. Unwin carried her body out of the house while McFall pulled down the sheet to try to obscure her from security cameras that were attached to the house next door. It is alleged they then bundled her into her black Audi. CCTV footage captured them leaving the house. You can actually see them carrying her body out the top of this short clip here. It's right at the top of the picture. They then were caught on footage driving to a nearby allotment less than a mile away, where they doused gas all over Gwen's body and her car and lit it. The autopsy would find that Gwen had still been alive before the fire, and the fire had been the actual cause of her death. They determined that by the gases that they found in her lungs. McFall and Unwin then walked back to Unwin's home, as you can see in this CCTV footage. They look as if it is another typical day in the neighborhood. It was at about 12:30 a.m. on August 15th that local residents heard an explosion and saw a fire on the track leading to some allotments. The fire brigade was alerted by 999 calls and attended promptly. They found an Audi fully engulfed in flames and quickly tackled the fire. This is the footage of firemen putting out the burning Audi. Having done so, they found Gwen's badly burned body face down on the back seat. After returning to Unwin's residence, the pair got in Unwin's vehicle and then drove to get money from the ATM with Gwen's bank cards. Here is a selfie they made while driving to the ATM after they had set Quyen on fire. Wow, that's just so disgusting. They even have camera footage of Unwin withdrawing the money. After they got caught, they each blamed each other for the killing and raping of Gwen, as if that would lessen what they had done. They both had Quyen's DNA on their clothing and the items that they used in the assault. They sent a letter to each other in prison, McFall writing Unwin, letting him know that he told the officers that they were both in Unwin's house. And they thought this was a good alibi. And so both the guys guilty are saying they were in the house together. What kind of good alibi is that supposed to be? So that was the first letter these dummies wrote from prison. Like they didn't think they were going to read their mail or something. I always don't understand that. Then the next letter they wrote, he would tell him that their defense was to blame the crimes on each other, thinking that would confuse the jurors. No. Fortunately, these two will now die in prison, but unfortunately at the cost of a beautiful young life. Quyen's sister is still struggling with the death of her sister. At the funeral, the mourners wore a handkerchief. In Vietnam, this is a way of honoring the dead. Quyen's son David went to live with his father. The sister would say she was a beautiful, kind, caring person. And she said that even months later, the people they worked with at the nail salon continued to send flowers to Gwen because she was so loved. Gwen's sister couldn't even get up the nerves to tell her family who lived in Vietnam. They actually learned by the news. That would be a tough way to learn about your daughter's death. She couldn't find it in herself to tell them. Well, guys, that's it for this true crime story. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe before you sign off. I work real hard on these videos and I would appreciate it. I love you guys and I hope y'all have an amazing week and stay blessed. Bye.
That's what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson. He got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. Now leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression. You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing